Have you ever thought about using your money before you retire? I mean, I'm talking about the money that you save for retirement, actually using it before you retire in order to build more wealth without ever losing what you're growing on that money. Sounds too good to be true, right? But it's not. And that's what we're going to be focusing on this week: how to build and borrow with cash value life insurance. Appreciate you for joining, and let's get into it. I'm Lonzy Green, affectionately known as Mr. Flip Your 401k. I help people build holistic financial strategies using their retirement plan, their cash value life insurance to pay off debt, become investors, get paid for life, and retire comfortably. Welcome to From 401k to Freedom. So I can tell you right now, when you're in debt, especially heavily in debt, and most of us are in debt. We may not be heavy in debt, but there's a study that says the average American household has at least $90,000 worth of debt. And then the credit card debt crisis is at least in the trillions of dollars. So if you don't have debt, I can assure you the person over your shoulder or right next to you, whether it's your family member, your coworker, they have debt of some kind. And what we also know is that we're suffering in silence, right? We're really not maybe having the kind of intentional conversations when we're together on what are some strategies, some things that we can do in order to get out of debt. And so people are living their lives day to day with this on their mind. What am I going to do with all this debt, right? And it can almost feels like you're climbing up a slippery slope. And what I mean by that is, you take one step forward and then two steps go back, right? Because you're using your paycheck each and every time you receive your paycheck to pay off the debt. But again, something comes up, or because the interest rates are so high. I mean, on credit card alone, the interest rates average 20%. And so it takes many, many, many years in order to pay that debt off. So just imagine the thousands of dollars that you're having to pay to the banks or these financial institutions just to get out of debt. So I just kind of want to just paint that picture because I know that we all are either have been there or are there. And so I want to talk to the people that are there now and figure out how we can get out that debt for you, but do so in a creative way that the money that you are working for and earning continues to always grow no matter what. Meaning I'm not dipping into this checking account and savings account and spending this money on this debt and it is lowering me back down to a zero balance. No, how can we pay off this debt, but the money that I'm using to pay off the debt continues to grow? And so we're going to talk about how you build your cash value insurance and how you borrow it. So let's get into the specifics and the actionable steps that you can take in order to do so. So I remember when I first heard about cash value life insurance, I was completely skeptical, right? I actually heard about cash value life insurance for many people, but at the time I was younger and I really, quite frankly, thought that I knew it all. So I wasn't really paying too much attention to what was being said to me. But it was a couple of years ago where I came across someone who is actually my mentor that talked about how you can leverage cash value insurance and the many things that you can do with it. And I was like, wow, man, if this thing can really work, how powerful would this be? So I'm not even gonna lie. At first I was skeptical, but I went ahead and moved forward as a client first and set up a whole life insurance policy for myself and for my wife, right? And when I did that, I took the chance. And I'm going to tell you, I was terrified. I took the chance by borrowing from out of my cash value. What I found was something just so tremendous because there were some differences there. I had been putting all of my money in my 403b account. And in that account, there's quite a few restrictions and limitations on when and where and how you can get your money. But with cash value, it was so open. It was so flexible. And so what I did was I borrowed from my whole life insurance policy. And why did I do this? Why did I take a policy loan? Because I told you previously, there was some debt that had mounted up on my credit cards that I just didn't foresee. And so what I did was, instead of taking money from a checking and savings account, when I repurposed my money in my whole life cash value policy, and I took that money out as a loan, I was able to pay off my credit card debt, my small balance first. But guess what? When I borrowed from that credit card, the money that was in my cash value still grows at a rate of interest, actually 4 or 5% rate of interest, as if I never borrowed from the policy at all. So I'm going to pause on that because that is transformative, right? But now what it's allowed me to do is it paid off my debt. And I could take the amount that I was paying on my minimum monthly payment for my credit card, and I could pay that back to myself in my cash value policy. But guess what? Not only am I paying it back to myself, I'm paying myself back with interest. So I'm not paying the banks hundreds or thousands of dollars to get out of debt. I'm paying myself back to get out of debt. And I don't know about y'all, but when it comes to money and mindset and transformation with your finances, that right there is a whole game changer. So if you are ready to learn about the transformative impact, the dynamic changes that can occur to your finances by leveraging cash value life insurance to build your cash value, grow it, and then subsequently borrow from it in order to get yourself out of debt, be sure to click on the links. Hey, you can book a call with me. We can speak one-on-one directly. Or if you just want to look at some information and some details about some of the things that I've shared with you today or in previous episodes, you can click the link to acquire the ebook, The Value of Cash Value. But until then, you all take care, be smooth, talk to you soon.